Hey, what's up, people? This is episode 27. We got a lot on our plate. This is Rob McLean. I'm Jason DeBeas. Today, we got the UFC, the AVP, the Wilson Cup. The second tournament of this three-tournament series is up. Jamal Adams, what's his problem? We're going to find out on this episode, episode 27, which starts right now. What's good, Rob? Episode 27. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. What's up, man? You know how I do before we get started, whether we do this fast or we do this slow. I've got to give the people what they want. So, hey, we got a lot to talk about. Lou Williams misbehaving, leaving the bubble. Jamal Adams outed his coach, requested a trade. His request was granted. UFC, another main event, not the best of the bunch, but certainly some fighters to highlight. But for now, we're going to start with the AVP. All right, the Wilson Cup happened this weekend. Predictable winners. Alex Kleiman, right? April Ross.
Yeah, I mean,
Phil Dahlhauser,
honestly,
Nick Lucena.
yeah, they look good. They look good. I mean, they look better than they did last week. You know, everybody looked better than they did last week. But I saw in the men's bracket that there was only one 3-set game, and that was in the finals. Or there was
Semis.
one 3-set in the semis, and then
Theo Brunner, man.
2-0 in the finals.
Theo Brunner, man. Always respected that dude, but he's literally starting to grow on me. I mean, you know, one of the dumbest questions he was asked in the interview was like, "Are you the sneakiest blocker in the AVP?" And like what's his name? Casey Patterson goes. He's like, wait, he's a leader in every statistical category for blocking. So and me, I didn't call him the sneakiest blocker. I called him the best blocker no one talks about, which from me comes from a very honest place, because quite frankly speaking, he isn't talked about enough, and his blocking ability. But so winners, Phil and Nick had their number. First game was a beer game, right? 21-9. I felt that Alex Kleiman and April Ross got challenged again, but they rose to the challenge. So they showed me a lot more than what Phil and Nick did, because to me, championships aren't built on blowouts. They're built on 2-point victories. When these games are tied and tensions get high and butt cheeks get tight, you know, either you do it or you don't. So, Rob, the question is, what player or players, meaning team, or matches stuck out to you the most?
Well, for sure on the women's side, I was really surprised with the final, honestly. I was really surprised with how clean Alex Kleiman looked, and how they definitely devised the plan to beat Pavin and Paredes, where they're trying to play a lot more towards whether it's passing the middle and playing and stretching the court way outside and making the big blocker really move and then hit across the court and drop it down short down the line. Like, they did a really good job of game planning, sticking to the game plan. And that's what I feel like that team needs. They need just an idea and just go with that idea and stick with that idea, because Kleiman's not necessarily an experienced beach player. Even if she qualifies for 2 more Olympics and at the end of her career, she still won't be the most experienced beach player. She'll never be the experienced, she has great beach IQ, She does really good things, but she just doesn't have that amount of time on the beach. It's just, it is what it is. April Ross, she's just put the time in. You could see all that experience just oozing out now, and she's just having a great career to finish.
So hard working.
Probably the next 4 or 5 years. It was really good to see them, especially against Pavin and Paredes, who is a top team in the world, just game plan and kind of just not like dominate them, but they handled them pretty solidly. Like, they always seemed like they were in control. And you could say whatever you want about everybody's getting back and training and doing this, but somebody's got to be working harder than somebody else, and somebody's got to be winning these tournaments. So that was really good to see that. I was really surprised with how competitive that game looked, and how honestly one-sided it kind of looked. So
I like it.
That was kind of my big surprise.
Yeah. Well, what stuck out to me the most, and it's not that much of a surprise to me as it is to other people. Theo Brunner played up, man. Theo Brunner, every time he has a partner that represents, he represents. Think about it, from John Hyden all the way from the qualifier to in Hawaii all the way to the finals. His AVP victory with John Hyden a year before that, his AVP victory with Billy Allen, him representing really well with Casey Patterson. I thought Casey Patterson, for the most part, had a good tournament. Then he got a little chatty at the end, because I know his chattiness gets some people out of his game, but to Phil and Nick, that either does absolutely nothing to them or gives Popeye spinach. One way or another, it doesn't result in a good thing. It never has, never will. Trevor got chatty too, ended up, getting clamped. And maybe it's one of those things where, like, it's just a waste of your energy because it doesn't affect him. Or the other worst case scenario is it does affect them, but not the way you want, the other way, right? Sometimes when you want to beat the best team in the United States, you don't want to rile them up. You don't want to stir the pot. So Theo Brunner was the guy who stuck out with me for players. For plays, I was very, very impressed with Miles Partain from the qualifier all the way up to the main draw when they had to play Phil and Nick. The games weren't close, but you saw a glimpse of what this kid's capability is. He's literally growing as well as figuratively growing. He is fearless. Don't let the shyness fool you. The kid has no fear. He showed versatility by having multiple different partners. He played with Paul Lotman, I believe, and finished 5th in Chicago. And he's picked Ty Loomis, who I'm pretty sure has multiple personalities, but you're playing with him and you're representing. Pretty cool. And of course, I'm putting the play up right now of him, the pass and him jump setting. There it is. He draws Phil up in the air. And then boom, Ty Loomis just blows it up. So he was responsible for, I think, Ty being one of the Hammer Award candidates, if you will. That's given by Kevin Barnett and Cameron Oring. One of their actually, I like the Hammer Award. I think it's a pretty cool idea, and I wish there's a way that the players and him could get on board with that. It's pretty cool. Jeff Alzina was on point. My wife in particular was like, really loved the way he was educating the audience on technique and facing the hitter and what he expects the other team to do next, and then the other team did it next. And he's going to be at the end. He's my shout out, but I'm kind of giving that away a little bit. And I really like what happened in this tournament. The result is not a surprise, but it was so much fun watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And listen, we have our little sideline reporter. That's Rene Marcellus. She was there for the qualifiers, and she was responsible for live streaming. We did kind of a little joint promotion. I was able to use her live stream and do some color commentating, and then steered the rest of the traffic her way. And here's the interview I had with Marcellus. Thank you for joining us today.
Jason, thank you so much for having me. I'm super stoked to be here. You're an awesome person. Honored to be a part of the show.
Nice. And in the spirit of the show, I'm going to ask you this first question. You were there for the qualifier, actually doing a great job live streaming, and you can definitely give people your handle while I'm talking to you. But for now, can you give me a description of the mood in the air, like the atmosphere? There was a heightened level of excitement. Was it business as usual? Or was it somber, or was I'd like for you to tell the audience what you felt, being at the end, being in the atmosphere.
Definitely, yes. It's being there, being at AVP quality at the post-COVID environment is strange. It's very foreign. There's no fans cheering when there's a hit straight down a roof. There's no heckling. There's no Rosie's Raiders. There's nobody talking shit to the other side. It's business. It's very professional. We are here to play volleyball to the best of our ability, and that's that. The only kind of emotional stuff is if there's any tension between each team. Crab v crab is always exciting, or if there's any past dimensions or dynamics between athletes or rivalries or rematches where the players are talking through to each other. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot of festive jazz, which could sound potentially boring, but it's really nice because the focus is on the skill. These players are working their little hearts out. I wasn't going to say asses, but they're working their asses off.
No matter none.
They're working their asses off to play the best volleyball in the world. And this is where only volleyball matters, which is really cool. It's not about what the fans are cheering. It's not about, even Jeremy DJ Rouchet was saying, he's not playing music for the fans. He's playing it for the athletes. And AVP has created this very safe environment, this bubble of a parking lot of 3 courts, 900 tons of sand, by the way. It's a lot of sand to fill these 18-inch deep 3 courts. And it's all about volleyball. It's only volleyball. So the buzz isn't there. It's not where you can feel like the crowd's gravitating to one court, like, oh, this must be a good match. You got to know who to watch to decide. You got to know who the players are to decide what link to click on, really, instead of what court to gravitate towards. So it's a little different. Not somber, not somber at all. It's kind of magical. I was talking to a couple of the staff members, and how do we feel about being here? And one of them said, I almost got a little emotional because it feels normal. It feels like volleyball's happening, and this feels like real life. So it's kind of magical.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that was kind of my guess too, and I thought you did a really good job conveying that during the live stream. My other question is, we were watching together, Peter Marciniak and Rafa Rodriguez play the first round against Ty Loomis and Miles Partain. Somewhere in the second play of the third play of the game, he was bleeding profusely from his right hand.
Yes.
Tell the audience what happened, and what do you think the likelihood of, his prognosis was, the likelihood of him coming back next week? I mean, listen, Tuesday and Wednesdays, we could have an entirely different story, but Rob and I are going to have, we're going to have a discussion about that. So tell us, what happened. You described it as a wet tampon. It was awesome. That's the best way to describe it. And, talk about that.
Oh my gosh. Peter got a roof straight down, gorgeous block where the crowd would go wild, but there was no crowd. So it was really just a block, okay, time to go back to serve. And he turns around, and I see blood, because coming from an officiating standpoint, you see blood, you stop the match, here we go. So I see blood automatically, and I don't know what had happened, but I had noticed prior to the match that he came out with both his pinkies shaped like Doberman ears. Like, I was just like, why are your pinkies shaped? That's a little much. Only to find out that he breaks his fingers quite often. So blood happens. Hey, ref, I have blood. Goes to the player's box. Medical's right there. There's 2 medical professionals on every single court, which is great. In case anything happens, there's no wait. You have attention immediately from a medical professional. So takes the tape off, and his bone is protruding. Like, there's no finger. It's just take the tape off, and there's Peter's bone. It's kind of freaky. His wife was right there because she was warming up. Her match was next. So it was nice that his wife was there. It could have turned into... Yeah. So that was really cool that she was able to be there to support him, but it was really shitty. It was a bummer. Likelihood of him coming back, I have no idea. I don't know if it's going to be a play through the pain type of thing and tape it up or buddy it, or I have no idea. I mean, you're not allowed to wear anything hard or obtrusive as equipment. So I don't know what he's going to do. Is it worth to play through the pain? You possibly have 3 days ahead, at least one day, at least one match to get through, 3 matches in his case, because he's not going to get a bye. Is it worth it? I don't know. A cost worth analysis, broken pinky, I'm not sure. It's not a broken ankle, but I don't want to diminish the level of pain. And I don't know what he does off the court. Is he an aspiring surgeon and needs the dexterity of his fingers? I have no idea. I don't think he didn't come back in those 3 points. So who knows? We'll see what you guys have to say. I felt bad. I compared him to Sheila Shaw. I was like, well, Sheila's played with a broken hand. Yeah. But
Sheila's tough. Sheila's tough, and Peter is too. Peter, pain don't hurt. I think he didn't even know until the 3rd play. So,
Yeah. So.
So my last question is the finals, like the final play match point for April Ross and Alex Kleiman, as well as Phil and Nick. Was the celebration anticlimactic because there wasn't a crowd there, or was the level of joy and elation seem kind of the same?
That's a great question. As far as Nick and Phil, it was a bit anticlimactic for the second weekend. I mean, they kept Jake and Taylor to single digits. I don't think ever happened before in a final.
Yeah, beer game.
It wasn't even a match. It was kind of boring. Like, no one was really cheering. We're just like, okay, well, is this the match that we were all hoping for? Absolutely not. I mean, both teams earned their spot there. the semi between Casey, Theo, Nick, and Phil was exciting. But the final was just kind of lackluster. I think a ball was hit out of bounds to clinch that title. That was kind of okay, game's over. Here's your championship cup. Yeah. Congrats to Phil. Oh my gosh, 100 wins. That's super, super duper exciting. I mean, Nick got to play with Phil for his first win and now for his 100th win. So kind of like a neat little championship sandwich there. As far as April and Alex, they had a struggle of a tournament. They kept going 3. They had a medical timeout for a leg injury. They were Corinne and what's Corinne's partner? Wheeler, Allie. Corinne and Allie took them to 3 in the first match of the day in the main draw. So that was kind of questionable. Like, oh, well, who did they play bad? Did Alex and April play bad, or did Corinne and Allie show up? Yeah. I think it was a little combo of both. And then Kelly Clay's Sarah Sponsel took them to 3. I mean, at set 1, Kelly Clay's and Sarah Sponsel were just out to kill.
Like world beaters, yeah.
They're the real deal. They are the absolute real deal. And then for the finals against the Canadians, against Sarah and Mel, it was just another match. I think it was a good matchup. I think Alex and Sarah are good physically matched against each other. So that was kind of exciting to see two females of the same body height and body build go against each other. But other than that, there was no like, wow, congratulations.
Nice.
I think weekend 1 was a little bit more exciting.
Right.
I think I'm looking forward to weekend 2 because it's kind of like a split, a draw, and comebacks and last tournament of the series. Got to get it all out there. That was kind of the vibe today at practice as well. Is hey, after this week, there's no more volleyball. So I'm wondering what that will play into the attitudes and the mentalities of I got to go all out. Who cares if I get hurt type of thing.
Well, I'm sure they're going to play I'm sure they're going to play it as if it's as if this tournament is their last, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, I got to go. But before I go, can you plug in the audience, your Facebook handle where people can watch it on the live stream action, particularly the qualifiers? I thought you did a brilliant job at with fan engagement and bringing people in. So plug that in for us.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely go to our Facebook handle, facebook.com/wearedottie. We are DADE, and we will be there at the quali, and we are super jazzed to bring everyone there with us.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Rene Marcellus, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, that was Marcellus. And listen, what we talked about in her subject matter, the second or third play of the game, I don't know if you saw any of it, Peter Marciniak injured his thumb or his finger to a point where you could see bone on an early penetration on the block. And by the time this broadcast comes out, Rafu already has this situated. Either Peter plays or Rafu has a better partner. But my question to you is, if Peter Marciniak can't go, who's a good candidate as far as middle blocker or not middle blocker, but like front row blocker that would be complementary to Rafu?
Well, I mean, I think the like a realistic answer would be who has the points, because I'm sure Rafu doesn't want to qualify to get into these tournaments. But you do make money. I heard apparently even if you do make it, if you're even in the qualifier. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a bust, but I'm sure he's trying to look for somebody that's.
But like points notwithstanding,
with points.
Points notwithstanding, who's an ideal person who can come in and just make an impact?
I mean, I think for him, what he would need is somebody who's a really physical presence. So if you're talking about a big man, I think with points withstanding, I think Chris Johnson's always my favorite pick because he's just a physical. You can't really teach height and
that served to space.
There's not a lot of people that can really block him, honestly. And then Rafu is like a very fluid defender. He wants to really run around a lot, or get the ball hit right at him. So I know that a big block would make it really easy for him to, have a lot of time for maybe those high lines, maybe chase him down a little bit more. And he's a real skilled player, so I think he'd be a real help for a lesser skilled big guy, but still just a monster on the court. So, yeah, that would be my points without not standing.
Well,
Chris.
I love your pick. I love your pick in the sense that the one thing that he brought from indoor volleyball to outdoor to beach, playing the last 3.5 or 4 years, was the block. It's the easiest transitionable thing that an indoor player, an oppo or a middle can bring because the technique is there. Bring your attention to David Lee, right? Stepped on the scene, boom, roofing people off the court. Chris Johnson is that guy. I like your pick. Me, I'll give some honorable mentions after my pick, but I like Dave Palm. I like Dave Palm is one of those cavemen at the net. He doesn't play too emotionally high. He doesn't play too emotionally low. Any play sets, like be it slow shoots or maybe some go balls, Rafu likes to do, or just some fake front twos and this and that. Those are two players that can get to know each other in a 2 or 3 day span and then have that instant offensive connection. Honorable mention to Jeff Samuels. I also think Brandon Clemens is a very easy partner to play with. It's just about who's giving up control and who's taking control. Whatever relationship, I think Rafa's going to be more in control than he gives up, which is why Chris Johnson is an ideal pick, and which I think Dave Palm is an ideal pick because I think Palm is interchangeable as far as taking control and giving up control, especially if he respects his partner. So, yeah.
True.
Cool, man. All right, so we close the door on the AVP for now. But great tournament, and I speak for Rob and myself, but I look forward to the Porsche Cup. I think that's what it's called, coming up this weekend. Maybe. Hey, let's bring your attention really quick to the UFC. We spent a lot of time on it, but we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one because we have other subject matter, and in conjunction with the question, it consolidates this big event for us. This is UFC Fight Night, Darren Till versus Robert Whittaker. Very good 5-round decision. We have 2 questions, but the first question is, since I started with the main event, let's talk about who you thought won. The question is, Robin, to me it's not even a question, but because Twitter blew up with, I thought this guy won and this one. Rob, who won that fight?
So I don't even know why it's a question. I didn't think it was close. But when you watch the fight, though, if you don't really, because you got to look at both sides. I think fighting is really a sport of statistics because it's hard to see everything. And I'm not saying all the numbers are right, but it kind of gives us a tell of the tale. That's why it's funny that boxing always use that. But you have like what you felt the fight was, that can sometimes determine, a win or loss. Then there's statistics. If you see that somebody, it's really close and then somebody did something in another category, that kind of pushed it over the edge, or it's just one guy just dominated so much on this half that it just changes everything. It just changes how it is. It changes the whole fight. So for me, you just have to look at all aspects of it. And when you look at that fight, you have Whittaker just kind of dominating on the feet, and there was not really many takedowns. There wasn't really much ground and pound on the ground, so you have to just take that at face value for the striking numbers. And then even if the numbers are wrong, you still have I think Whittaker winning that fight on just the way it felt. It felt a lot closer than the numbers said, but I think the numbers pretty much determined that Whittaker won that pretty handily. Rob,
I got to go Whittaker 4-1. I mean, Listen, you maybe give Darren Till the first round because if you're thinking like judges, some of these judges, you could dominate for 4 minutes. Someone has this explosion at the end, and they have this kind of extreme recency bias, right? And they're like, oh, he won that round because some of these judges are idiots, and I'm going to use the term idiots. So even in the worst case scenario where you have judges that are idiots, Rob won 4-1. The other 2 judges gave him 5-0. One judge gave him 4-1, and I thought that was the right decision. Rob Whittaker, to his credit, 5th round, this kind of pressure in his head, like it's tied 2 up. If I go for a takedown, because takedowns matter to judges, I'm a stand-up guy, got the takedown at the end. And that was very, very good thinking on his part because you don't want to leave it in the hands of the judges, but sometimes you go against someone that refuses to get finished. Till is a tough dude. Don't let the Jorge Masvidal knockout fool you. Don't let Tyron Woodley, choking him with that anaconda, which looked like a real snake. Don't let those things fool you. This is That was a Darren Till that had to suck himself dry to get to 170. Right now, he was a comfortable back fat type 185, and he showed it. He showed, you're not losing all that water. You could take a shot, and you could take these shots. And you taking a shot from Bobby Knuckles, you're a worthy opponent. And if Bobby Knuckles is not knocking you out, you have Bobby Knuckles, who's Rob Whittaker, has to find other ways to finish, especially in championship matches. The reason why it's a championship match is because the champion and the number one contender got there because they don't get knocked out. They don't get finished. So they're going to be these decisions, but you do want to leave something in the hands of the judges. And I think that takedown at the end, for anyone that was thinking it was 2-2 or closer, should have just shut Twitter down, which it didn't. All right, is there a particular match that stuck out to you the most, or a particular fighter? This one I'd like to go first.
Please.
The fighter that stuck out to me was Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev. I saw this dude fight and I said, well, damn, Rob. At least Khabib Nurmagomedov is there in spirit. Holy sugar, man! Is this guy from Dagestan? No, but he is that guy. He's that guy that looks like he wrestles bears. He comes in, taps gloves, 1-2, takedown, and as soon as he takes you down, you manipulates his body and pushes you towards his side of the cage where he could listen to his coaches, who, by the way, don't speak English. Not all of them speak English. Works to his advantage. Gives you noogies. Nuggies don't hurt. That don't hurt. How about some elbows? Oh my God, that hurts. I'm gonna give you my back. How about a choke? I don't want to get choked. How about more elbows? I'm gonna give you my back. This man fought 2 times in 3 events on the 3 events on Fight Island. He fought twice. Said he was ready to go. And after that match, he's like, I want to fight again today. I want to fight again next week. He is a dangerous SOB because he inflicts the most damage and he takes the least, Rob. This man outstruck his 2 opponents, a combined 192 to 2.
Yeah, see, I didn't see that fight. I don't know where that happened, but do you have the card? Because
his main card this time, and then two events ago, he was prelims.
But I'm saying he fought in this last card on the Fight Island.
Yeah, he did.
Do you have the card in front of you? Because I never really seen I didn't see that fight, and everybody's talking about him, and I missed him. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
All right, well, check it out. I'm gonna pull it up, and then you're gonna tell us. You're gonna tell us which fight or fighter stuck out to you the most. Did it happen to me in the main event? Because to me that was kind of like a fight of the night.
Right. That's why everybody's talking about that. I'm like, I watched the whole Darren Till and Robert Whittaker fight, but
all right, here's the card. Pulling it up right now. More fights. Let's do this. Here we go. Here's our main event. See that?
Yes,
Shogun against Little Nog. Yeah. Fabricio didn't even let him. Oh my God.
Oof.
How many arms did he have? How many arms did he have, dude? And there he is. There was it wasn't a 5-round main card. It was a 6-round. He was first. And listen, if you went and ordered pizza and said, I'm going to catch this first fight later, you probably missed the fight. It was 3 minutes, 9 seconds. Right here. See that?
Yeah. Wow.
And listen, Rise McGee's a good fighter, man, but he never got out the box. He got taken down. He got rushed to the corner. Cowboy Oliveira, that was a decision. Paul Craig, very good in the guillotine, and that triangle choke. I think for light heavyweights, I don't even see a light heavyweight that slaps it on better than he does. Carla Esparza, a very uneventful win, but sometimes when you're losing more, she's 18-6, and I think her last 6 fights she lost, she was 3-3. Sometimes you need that W. You got to do what you got to do. Fabricio has 2 extra arms, dude. Your hand fighting, I got his left arm here. I got his right arm here. Sorry, I'm going back. I got his left arm here. I got his right arm here. Good. He can't choke me as long as I got both his arms. And then 3rd arm coming this way, 4th arm. Next thing you know, you fighting 4 hands. And you just like, I tap. I'm not fighting a human being. I'm fighting a 6-handed hexapus.
He's a scary dude, man. He's a scary dude.
Yeah, man.
But
Yeah.
I'd have to say my fight for the night would have to be Shogun Rua. That was a
Have
really
you ever
good
seen
fight,
him in a boring
honestly.
fight?
Ooh, I was like, he might get hit. He might get hit hard. He ain't gonna get knocked out, but he's hitting him. It's just a good fight, and that's what's crazy. Is I love these Brazilian fighters who just are ready to fight until 50 years old. Like, it's crazy. Aldo keeps going. It looks like he's never gonna stop. Like.
It's a miracle. The way they train in the
It's
gym,
crazy.
you wouldn't even think they'd last till they're 35. Because they
Right.
knocking. This is Black House Gym. This is Brazilian top team back in the day. They knocking each other out in the gym.
That's what I mean.
How you doing? I'm still concussed. Don't tell nobody that.
Hey.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Shogun, I have two things to say about Shogun. One, I've never seen him in a boring fight. And two, I don't know if it's out of respect or it's out of fear. When you go to the weigh-ins, do you ever see anybody try to bow up to him in the weigh-ins? You ever see someone try to get nose to nose or intimidate him or push him? When he's in the weigh-ins, they do this. And then they bow and then they shake hands. I don't know if it's because they fear this guy, what this guy can do to you in a cage, or what you can do to him, and he just keeps coming at you like, okay, my turn now. Tap, tap, tap. So, cool, man. You like that fight? Little Nog,
Yeah,
that was the third.
That was a nice. That
third
was a
meeting.
good. That was a nice old man's. Hit him up, beat him up. Still good fight though.
Yep.
I love seeing Nogueira fight. He's a good fighter too.
For and then MMA enthusiasts or like borderline enthusiasts, this is their third fight. And if you ever want to see a good fight, go to the last one, go to the one before this, or you ain't got enough time, go to the one before that. They fought 3 times. It was basically a three-peat of what we saw the previous 2 times, of course, and with the result. I think one was a split, but the other 2 were unanimous. But yeah, Shogun won that. But what a fight! And Little Nog could take a shot too, man. Little Nog is
Ain't no Little
Minotaur
Nog,
Naguero's
that's for sure.
yeah, Minotaur Naguero's identical twin. Yeah. So, all right, cool, man. That's why the UFC, we don't have to cover a whole lot, man, because the fights we didn't have to look for them. They stuck out. They stuck out, man. And Shogun, man, that stuck out. And Fabricio, man, he got out of that unscathed. I want to see him fight as soon as possible. I want to see him. I don't know. I want to see him I want
I
to
can't
see him
wait to see
fighting
my
Ghana.
boy Sean O'Malley fight though.
Sugar.
I
Is there a
gotta see it. I
better?
gotta
Listen,
see
he's
it.
more sugar than Rashad.
Ooh.
He's more sugar than Rashad. He's
the
almost as
MMA
sugar as
sugar.
Ray Leonard.
He's that MMA sugar, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Man.
I'm looking forward to him. Remains undefeated too. Another
Ooh.
skinny boy that could take a hit too, and he's dynamic. You saw that walk off? You talking about that walk off, not KO?
I mean, no, I'm talking about all the skills he put down on it was a 1 minute and 30-second fight, and he probably threw like 30, 40 things.
Yeah, until you had enough.
Punches, kicks, elbows, like what the hell? Like he's throwing things that's super fresh, no energy, This guy didn't even get a chance. He had like a chance for 2 hits.
Never had one.
Yeah, I wanna see. He's fighting Brandon Vera apparently.
Oh, Brandon. Okay.
Brandon Vera, yeah.
Okay. Wow. No, Brandon Vera. Marlon Vera.
Marlon Vera?
Yeah, because Brandon Vera is a heavyweight, and he's
Is
fighting
he
in Pride right now. He used to fight in the UFC. He beat Frank Mir. Beat him down.
That was Brandon.
Yeah. Or it could be Brandon something else, or Marlon Vera. Maybe I'm just putting words in
It
your
might be
mouth.
Marlon Vera.
Yeah. All right. So listen, next topic, and we could take our time. I'll get through this quick because it's a stupid thing to talk about, but because it's hit national news, and it's a sports debate show, we have to indulge. Bring your attention, everybody, to the NFL. Jamal Adams, after openly criticizing his coach, saying that his coach head coach Adam Gase is not a leader, not this, not that, and after requesting a trade over and over, Jamal Adams finally got his wish. He got traded to the Seattle Seahawks. And in return, the Jets got 2 late first-round picks and also a third-round pick for later on in the deal, added to the deal. And they got safety Bradley McDougald. So my question is, Rob, is this a Jets loss? Or is it good riddance, Jamal Adams?
So, this is actually great on all ends and also bad on all ends. This is actually a crazy deal. First of all, it's great for the Jets in the fact that they got rid of a star player who's disgruntled, obviously doesn't want to play there. And it's, it's great for them. It's great for the Seattle Seahawks because they have a huge need in their secondary, more specifically their safety position, being that they lost Earl Thomas. They don't have Cam Chancellor anymore with his neck injury, and that's something that you don't really come back from, or just not to the level you recently were playing at. And, they got one of the best safety prospects at the position that they really needed. Pete Carroll's whole defense is predicated around that safety position, and he is a defensive-minded coach. So if you have a great quarterback, you have a quarterback with pretty much, Tom Brady-esque wide receivers running around there. Now you get throw in something, more better wide receivers. You got an offense that's ready to win a Super Bowl. Now you have a defense that has the right type of players in the right positions that you can start building around it as a defensive coordinator. Seattle's scary, and that's what you do. You give up a lot to go get those players that you really need. And unfortunately, the Jets are giving away one of those players, but they're not in that situation. They're a long way away from it. But what they did bring back in, and why it's also great for them, is 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick, and I think a 4th-round pick next year.
Yeah.
So that's what you're bringing in there is 3 starters, possibly 2 superstars and 1, high-level, rotation player. Yeah, 3rd-round picks are like gold in the NFL. So you got basically 3 A-plus picks for one player who might not have been in your team in a year. So that's a big haul. It's almost a big loss for Seattle if they, didn't get the right guy for the right position. So I think it's a fantastic pick for all sides, and I hope the Jets make the most of these picks. I really wish them the best.
Well, my answer to this, Rob, is good riddance. Good riddance. And it's not a Jets loss. It is a Jets loss in the sense that you picked this guy 6th overall. And a lot of people thought he should have been picked higher because that's, as far as safeties are concerned, he is that guy. And I don't think the Jets lost that much. I think they lost in the sense that he was disgruntled, but he didn't play on the field like he was disgruntled. He went out there and he represented all the time. And Le'Veon Bell was one of the people that were the most disappointed that he left because Le'Veon Bell lobbied for management to say, hey, let's get this guy. We can use this guy. We're going to have a captain on defense. You got me. I can ground and pound with the running game, me and the other running backs. Take some pressure off of this USC guy. Because if he's the quarterback that you think he is, what the hell is his name again?
What, Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold. If he's the guy who you think he is, we could do a Mark Sanchez. We could play defense. We could ground and pound, put him in a position where he doesn't turn over the ball until he becomes who we think he is, or he is, or he isn't. And some disappointment. I know Le'Veon Bell criticized him leaving and the way he treated the head coach and the way he bad talked people on social media. But at the same time, this is what Jamal Adams knew he had to do to get traded. It was more trade bait. I don't think he has a blatant disrespect for the coaching staff or Adam Gase in particular. I think Adam Gase looks like a funny guy, but I don't mean nothing. So I guess, Jets lost. Not really. First-round picks are first-round picks, particularly if you get to pick them one after the other in the first round. They are late, but if you get to pick 2 of them, you do get to at least have one of the trades, one of those picks as a bargaining chip for something or for a player that they might be interested in another team. So, good job by the Jets. Good job by Adams getting traded. What lands in Pete Carroll's lap, of course, is a gold mine because when Pete Carroll has a good safety and a good back 4, they're the Legion of Boom. When he doesn't have a good back 4, they're just a good defense. But I've never seen Pete Carroll have a bad defense. He's had, like you said, Brady-esque receivers, but a better quarterback with a stronger arm, in Russell Wilson, who doesn't look like he has any signs of slowing down. One of those quarterbacks that doesn't sustain a lot of damage. You don't see him get decked. He always runs out of bounds before he gets hit. Throws defenses hits and fits. And I'm not saying he doesn't get hit. He does, but I think he spends a lot of time sliding and making sure, he don't get rocked. So he'll have a better longevity. So Seattle, look out. Like you just said, they're the odds-on favorite for the NFC because they were one play away from going into the playoffs as the number one seed, right? It was the 49ers and them, and it was a play stopped at the goal line. And Pete was irresponsible for not calling a timeout. I think he got hit with a delay of game that moved him back 5 yards, which is just an administrative. That's just a smart person outsmarting himself.
That's
that
like
shit
kind of his
happens.
MO though.
Yeah.
He's doing too much. Just do the simple thing, and it's hard sometimes because he is that kind of like break the mold type of coach. Where it's like just do it a little differently, be with the players. Not just the coach's coach. He's always done the different route.
Yeah.
But sometimes,
it was just
the
what the
numbers don't lie.
NFL needs, right? It's just what the NFL needs between him, Mike Shanahan, whose coaching style is far from his father's. They both enjoyed success. His father, a couple of Super Bowl rings, but what he's trying to do is, they're both quarterback type people, but I would never see Mike Shanahan run the ball 20 times. He had Terrell Davis who rushed for 2,000 yards, but he's going to give John Elway his. So very, very happy with coaches like Pete Carroll. They're good for the NFL. Bill Belichick. We were talking about the top 5 coaches last week, and Pete Carroll deserved an honorable mention. I felt a little icky, on the inside for leaving him out. But when you consider who the top 5 were, they were the best of the best. There was a 1 and a shitload of 1As. Bob, did you hear that?
We got it back.
It's time for good idea, bad idea. Rob McLean, good idea, bad idea. Tom Thibodeau signs a 5-year deal with the New York Knicks. He was an assistant there from 1996 to 2003. Good idea, bad idea. Thibodeau back with the Knicks.
Good idea. I think the Knicks need absolutely any type of help in the management aspect, and he does a great job of trying to get up to the higher echelons of management and make them see his vision and see where he's going. And he's also a defensive-minded first coach. So for me, I think that's always been the Knicks' calling card is play defense, be scrappy, be tough. That's like the city motto. And then, from there we can work on superstar players,
Rob, have you noticed something different about my hat? Yes, you have. I see you smiling.
Ugly.
Listen, this hat doesn't say New York Knicks. It says the New Jersey Nets, okay? Thibodeau is a great coach. Thibodeau, give me the biggest superstar. They know they got to respect him and can't do stuff their way. So the Knicks win with this guy, but the loser in this is Thibodeau. He ain't going to survive Jerry Krause and Bob Dolan in a 2-decade period. I'm worried about that man's health. Rob McLean, good idea, bad idea. Lou Williams enters a 10-day quarantine. Good idea or bad idea?
I mean, from all reports, it sounds like probably a good idea. I don't know what's going on over there.
That man got some wings.
The thing is like, if you don't want to go, don't go. Or if you don't want to do the rules, just don't go. Or if you don't want to do the rules anymore, don't do the rules anymore. And I know there's like, probably some litigation behind that where it's like, if you don't go, you don't get paid. But, there's got to be some sort of buyout where it's like, just give me some piece of the season. If I don't want to be here, I don't want to ruin it for everybody else, so. No
doubt. Rob, I got to go with a good idea. I mean, he has to be quarantined for 10 days because, we have to see if he's asymptomatic. And so far, the bubble, which everybody's been criticizing, thus far has 0 positive tests. All these rosters that are huger than volleyball rosters, huger than UFC rosters, and coaching staffs and administrative staff and, tech people. So far, 0 positive tests. Be smart. Don't do that. Don't do that no more. For a guy who went for wings, you got a set of balls, okay? Good idea, bad idea, Rob. Golf. International players can compete without quarantine. The White House lifted various rules implemented during the pandemic.
Yeah, so I have a problem with this because what we're trying to do on a country basis is trying to limit interstate commerce, or interstate transportation. So to allow international travel on just the basis that they're athletes and they won't be around people anyway, it sets a bad precedent. It's the same thing with the community that's happening in our community, is that as the upper echelon of the athletes in that sport community, you have to set the example so that down the line people follow suit. If not, anything can happen because people don't. There's no model to look up to.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry,
Rob. I got to go with bad idea, and I'll tell you why. Because we're the nation, we're the leader, the nation leader of nations, and we have to set by example, not by exception. And hopefully the other people who come from other countries who have been practicing better social distancing than us will just do it anyway, regardless of the rules being lifted or not. How's that sound?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. All right, Rob, that concludes our good idea, bad idea. Now it's time for what is your recommended sports movie of the week, Rob?
Mine is gonna have to be $1 Million Baby.
Wow.
Another Clint Eastwood fantastic movie. Good recommendation by a wonderful girlfriend of mine.
Tough ain't enough.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect at least the passion that Clint puts into his movies as a director and as an actor. And then I think boxing, coming from its backgrounds, especially for women, I mean, that's just something on top of it. I think it was almost like a mix of how men had to or honestly, African American men had to go into the boxing atmosphere and be around everybody who never even wanted them. It's the same thing for women. Like, they wanted to be in a world that was only for men, and even the trainer was men. So it's just very interesting to see the dynamics of having to, go through the world, go through a privileged world, but, tiptoe around and try to make it. And once you make it, anything's possible. So
love the movie. And I love the movie for the same reasons that you just said, to show some people, to show everybody that sometimes success comes easier to some people than others. I don't think it's never easy per se, but easier. And some people have to take a harder path. And sometimes if you're driven, you got to drink that cup of bitter wine and come back for seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths. And that's what she did. She ate a lot of crap, along with, food out of the garbage can, because she was broke and she knew she wanted to pay for her gym time. And really love her rise to ascension. Love that her character made female boxing relevant, interesting, and started selling out. And who doesn't get teary-eyed, when you see what happened, how
hey, well, we
how
can't
it all
talk
ended without
about
giving
it.
away.
Just let everybody
whatever.
be,
Let's just say, if you cried when Old Yeller died and you don't cry to this, something's wrong with your head and your heart and your compassion. And empathy,
C-spot,
okay?
you run, all that.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
let it happen. Just let it happen.
All right. So my movie of the week. There are a lot of sports movies that are great for dramatic, purposes. $1 Million Baby is a dramatic movie. The Express is. Last week we were talking about The Miracle and all that stuff. And then there's some movies that are very light, and some are very humorous, and some of them are just outright slapstick, like Slapshot, which is not my movie recommendation. Though I love me some Richard Gere in
Or
that.
Caddyshack.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Slapshot was Richard Gere though. Caddyshack was who the hell was that? Was that Bill Murray? No.
Yeah, I mean, he was in it. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. It doesn't matter this week because that's not my recommendation. My recommendation is The Replacements. Rob, at first I was afraid. I was petrified. I could not go on living without you by my side. That line dance, I will survive. I'm not giving away, some of it. Awesome. This movie is basically about NFL football going on strike and the owners getting together and deciding they're going to use scab players, people who still play professionally, or professional hopefuls that they can recruit temporarily until the strike is over or until professionals cross the picket line. So enter Falco. What the hell's his name again? Shane Falco. Keanu Reeves plays a character called Shane Falco that's basically not doing football anymore and works on a boat and I believe in a bar or something like that. And the coach a legendary coach, Gene Hackman's character, his name is Jim McGinley in the movie, comes in and knows in order for him to have some success during this strikeout season with scab players, he needs a quarterback he can trust. Son, do you know the difference between winning and losing? The score? It is classic. And if I survive and Rob survive, you can survive. We will survive. I make mine The Replacements. That is my sports movie recommendation of the week.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Cool. All right, Rob. Hey, this one, that's it. That's it for the show, man. But before we go, I know you're not one for shout outs because your shout outs is just to everybody. You are a universal soldier. You are the next United Nations citizen of the world. And that is how you operate, okay? For me, I'd like to give a shout out to someone everybody knows in the volleyball community, Jeff Alzina. Jeff Alzina is this savage of a coach, 2.5 decades that I know of as far as coaching in the business. His father was a basketball coach. So coaching is in his blood, it is in his family, it is in his skill set, and he maximizes his potential to whatever limits that you can critique him. Some people might not like his coaching style, some people do, but I will tell you this. Every time someone has success in beach volleyball, you look under that umbrella, there he is, right? The Partains, age 15 and 17 years old, youngest team to qualify for the main draw. Look under the umbrella. It's Jeff Alzina. Trevor and Taylor Crabb made the finals 3 times as brothers, and then Trevor made it another 3 times with Rosie, maybe 4, 7 times total. Who's under that umbrella? Oh, shoot. It's Jeff Alzina. What's good, Jay? So, UCLA wins their first beach volleyball championship, finally breaking the string from USC, who won 2 club ones and then 2 NCAA champions and broke their four-peat. The head coach, Stein Metzger. Who's his assistant? Jeff Alzina. So Jeff Alzina, who left UCLA and is now at Santa Clara, it's more home to him, so it's kind of a homecoming job where he's pitching his tent, where he can build, he builds his own whatever, as opposed to jumping on somebody else's just married car.
That's more
my
established.
shout out goes to Jeff Alzina as a coach and breathing life, and as far as commentating is concerned, into this AVP weekend. Brings this heightened level of analytical, predictive validity on what the next few plays are going to be, which he was 100% right all the time, and bringing in a heightened level of professionalism, where there are certain other commentators that keep the mood light. And for me, I just needed a balance. I like people that joke around, and I like people that keep the mood light and have a sense of humor and keep it interactive with the fans. But you also need someone like him, a true color commentator that's all about that business. And make mine Jeff Alzina. And I'll tell you this, if they're ever looking for a setup, man, I really love this guy, Bishop, Matty Bishop, that was working with Jeff. I liked him a lot. I'm the man. Even on my worst day, I can't miss. I'm a very good setup man as far as play-by-play. Rob Espero. These are all people who are all involved in the business, who all paid their dues just like Alzina. And I really, really hope the sport of volleyball, but particularly the AVP, all of us can ascend together, And for me, I'm only half kidding. Like for me right now, what I got going on in my life, I'm just like Dominic Cruz. 2 minutes. I'm just like Dominic Cruz. I've already, when Dominic Cruz, when he decided that being the champion didn't define him, he was fighting, he looked great, he's happy, he's content. And for me, like if I don't get these high profile jobs, because color commentating is my wheelhouse, if I don't get what I want, I'm okay, because I realized years ago, and I just have to remind myself, these things don't define me. I'm already, I just turned 50 yesterday. I'm pretty much defined. I look good, right? I don't look like a 50-year-old. I look like a unattractive 35-year-old. So listen, I don't know how Rob feels about you all out there, but I've had it with you, okay? And I'm closing up shop, all right? For everybody at home, for everybody online at Starbucks on their iPhone watching this, for everybody on their iPad watching this, for everybody on their desktop watching this. Who rules the world? Old school. For Rob, keep it McLean. I am Jason DeBilius, and we're going to hit my music. But before that, I will say... what will I say? Say it with me.
See ya.
We're out. Okay. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.